Hey guys, ever since the channel reached 10k subs, we've actually been working on a very special project, and that is I will be releasing my very first and very own playmat ever. As a matter of fact, you guys gave me even more support than I could have imagined, and we recently even hit 15k subs, and honestly, I can't thank you guys enough. So in honor of all of your support, my friends over at Team FDTCG as well as Bantyo have decided to collab with each other, and we'll be releasing the very first ever Darkness Force playmat. Be sure to mark your calendars because pre-orders will be available on May 29th, 11 a.m. sharp EST all the way until June 12th. Only 300 of these will ever be made, and each and every one of them will have a serial code just to make it extra unique. Links and additional details will be available in the description box down below. And once again, guys, honestly, we couldn't be doing this without your support. So thank you guys so much to the bottom of my heart and really appreciate it.
Ulforceveedramon is back again in full swing with the all-new X Antibody version. Digimon fans, welcome back, and today we'll be showcasing the most updated version of the Ulforceveedramon deck. With the new addition of Ulforceveedramon X Antibody from BT12, the deck now has another reliable top-end boss Digimon that you can get into, and it can help you extend your combos and plays further to make even more attacks. As usual, I'll be showing you guys the new combos that you can pull off with this deck, but first, let's start with the deck profile. Alright, beginning with Digi-Egg cards, Wanyamon is still the main go-to Digi-Egg just because you can draw one when attacking once per turn as long as you have a blue Tamer in play. It has the best synergy with Ulforceveedramon and Ulforce the entire deck simply because you're always going to have Tamers all the time, and yeah, that's really the 4 eggs that you only need for the deck. Okay, so now let's move into the rookies. As per usual, the BT11 4 copies of the Vmon is super crucial of the deck. It is your main searcher on play, revealing top 3, grabbing yourself a Veedramon in its name. So you can grab Veedramon, Veedramon Zero, you can grab Veedramon, Ulforceveedramon, which is going to be fantastic. And on top of that, you also get to grab yourself a blue Tamer, which is going to be super crucial. And finding those pieces that you want, you can definitely go for your combo plays. And with its inheritable is your turn once per turn. Whenever you do play a blue Tamer, you get to gain a memory back, which is ultra value. Really important when it comes to the combos, which again, I'm going to show you guys later. Can't wait to show you guys because it's just really, really cool. And yeah, that's exactly the reason why you play 4 copies of this guy right here. Next, we also have the 4 copies of the EX1 Vmon. This one doesn't have an on play, and it really just offers an inheritable of your turn once per turn. When this Digimon becomes unsuspended, you get to gain a memory during the main phase. With Ulforce and all the blue pros that it really comes up to, it always, as an unsuspending, is a very common thing that we're going to be doing a lot of times. So being able to gain that 1 memory is going to help a lot, and definitely this is your other rookie that you're always going to be wanting to be digivolving as you're building your stack, other than just the BT11 Vmon, which gives you a lot of value with your combos as well. Next, I am playing 2 copies of the starter deck 8 Vmon from the Ulforceveedramon starter deck. It has the warping capability of your turn. If your opponent has a level 6 or higher Digimon in play, you get to digivolve this guy into an Ulforceveedramon specifically by paying 4 costs. Sometimes it does come up, which can be very handy for you to warp into it, and you can quickly do some combos if you need to. Not the most ideal, just because you do want to rack up all the inheritables with multiple effects ideally, but it does have a very nice inheritable of when attacking. If you have 7 or fewer cards in your hand, you get to draw 1, which is a very super good card that helps you cycle for more pieces, draw more power in the early stages of the games when you really need to, and find more cards if you're ever going low. To help you go above 7 is absolutely fantastic usually, and yeah, 2 is really all you need. Otherwise, I'm still playing the 2 copies of the EX1 Gabumon. I still find this card tremendously helpful simply because it helps you search for more Tamers because of its when attacking once per turn effect, revealing top 3 cards of your deck, adding yourself 1 Tamer card specifically, or Digimon card with Gabumon and its name and Monlim to your hand, and you place the rest at the bottom. We're really just trying to search Tamers with this. Tamers is super crucial. They are your ammunition when it comes to pulling off your Ulforce and suspending combos over and over again, which is why this card again is super crucial. If you guys prefer as well, you can definitely totally play 4 copies of this guy and don't play any Vmons at all, but I'm just giving that Vmon now a try simply because it has some really nice applications there as well. And yeah, the 2 and 2 right now works out nicely for me. That's it for the rookies. Let's talk about our level 4s. First and foremost, we still play the BT11 Veedramon with its main effect is your turn once per turn. When you play a blue tamer, you get to draw a card. Doesn't come up that often because you usually want to build your stack and raising anyways to be as safe as possible. But when it does come up, it's definitely nice to draw an extra card for sure. But otherwise, exactly what we play it for with its inheritable is that your turn once per turn. When you play a blue tamer, you get to gain a 1 memory as well. And law of synergy when we do go with the combos with the exact same inheritable as the BT11 Veedramon that we play, so definitely really important. Next, I am playing 2 copies of Veedramon 0. It does have a when attacking effect. If you have a blue tamer, you may trash the top 3 cards of your deck to give this Digimon extra 2000 DP for the turn. It really comes up, but you can use it for early swings every now and then. It provides an inheritable, which is not once per turn. With when attacking, you get to place 3 non-Digi A cards from your trash back to the bottom of your deck in any order to draw 1 card, which is always going to be nice as well, giving you that sort of extra draw power, finding more pieces as you're trying to build your stack or as you're trying to go for swings to, again, really ideally find as many tamers as you can is really what this card is all about. So it's the secondary Veedramon you can get into, which is like the second best one. And then to round off for level 4s, I am definitely playing the 3 copies of Lanamon. She is our Neo-Blue hybrid for game. You guys can personally play Kumamon or Lobomon just based on your personal preference, but she does have a pretty neat when Digivolving effect, letting you place a blue level 3 Digimon card from any under one of your blue Digimon, and then this particular Digimon will gain jamming for the turn. You definitely want to be playing a decent amount of hybrids because you can go on top of your tamers very frequently and then swing for game, make extra swings, and yeah, really having the extra attacks is really always super nice for sure. So 3 copies is what I decided to go with. That's it for our level 4s. Now let's talk about our level 5s, where you still definitely have to play the 4 copies of the BT11 Arrow Veedramon, because with its main effect of once per turn, you get to suspend this Digimon to search the top 3 cards of your deck, grabbing everything that is Tamer related to among them to your hand, and you place the rest at the bottom. Is again searching for ammunition, having your Tamers to synergize with your Ulforce combo, and with his inheritable of when attacking once per turn, it lets you activate one of your Reno Shinamiya's on play effects, which is really good to usually combo and sort of give you extra additional effects, especially when you have multiple Digimon on board, and definitely helps out very nicely. And this is, again, like I said, your main go-to level 5 that you always Digivolve into and want to get into as soon as possible. Other than that, we're now actually playing 3 copies of the other Arrow Veedramon from the Starter Deck 8. This one has the jamming, but mainly with its inheritable is that your turn, while you have 8 or more cards in your hand, gains security +1, which is now going to be more relevant because we now have a brand new level 6 Digimon that we can go on top of into. There's extra additional ratios, meaning we can increase the number of level 5s to match up with our increased numbers of level 6s. Before, we only used to play 1 or 2 copies of this guy, but now we can, safely play 3 without having worrying about too much of having too many level 5s. And you definitely want to see this card as your secondary because you can do so many checks, and with unsuspending effects, once again, you can actually just do a ton of damage in one single turn with your combo alongside, which is a very good card for sure in the deck. That's it for level 5s. Now let's finally get into our level 6s, where we'll showcase all our boss Digimons of the deck right here. First and foremost, you still definitely want to play the BT11 Ulforceveedramon with 4 copies, because when Digivolving, unless you play a blue Tamer card from your hand without paying any memory cost, ultra value instantly. Your turn, when you play a blue Tamer, you get to unsuspend this Digimon as well. And another further effect which gives you so much value is that your turn, once per turn, when this Digimon becomes unsuspended, you get to bounce one of your opponent's Digimon back to their hand that is level 3 or lower. And for every blue Tamer you have on board, you get to increase the level by 1 with this effect. So you're going to be racking up a lot of Tamers usually with this guy all the time. And being able to consistently bounce stuff every turn one after another is going to be super helpful. And the best thing about this effect with this deck is that you can easily even bounce level 7 cards back to your opponent's hand with the Digimon that they have on play, which is always going to be really ultra value and super easy to get rid of. And yeah, this is your main combo engine that you want to be seeing. Next, moving into the brand new support, which I'm so excited to showcase now, we have Ulforceveedramon X Antibody, the brand new boss Digimon, secondary one to top it off to really help support Ulforceveedramon and giving it another very great, reliable level 6 Digimon to get into. You don't have to pay 4 to Digivolve on top of a blue level 5. However, ideally, you're going to be Digivolving for 1 on top of Ulforceveedramon specifically. When digivolving, you can say unsuspend this Digimon or one of your blue Tamers, so you can actually do some really cool combos with it alongside to really top it off. It also has a secondary effect which is very similar to Ulforceveedramon's original bouncing effect, where all turns this one specifically, and once returned, when this Digimon becomes unsuspended while you have a blue Tamer in play, or this Digimon has Ulforceveedramon underneath it as a source, you can still return one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level back to their hand. So again, lots of bouncing that you can actually combo with this guy, but mainly you play this so that you can unsuspend itself, unsuspend a Tamer for very low Digivolution cost is always absolutely valued to even make even more attacks, even more swings, and that is what this guy is all about for sure. Then for the level 7, I am now playing Omnimon Merciful Mode as my level 7 choice in the particular deck. A lot of Ulforceveedramon deck players are also playing this simply because it is mainly to counter against Beelzemon. By digivolving for 6 on top of a level 6 blue, you get to delete one of your opponent's Digimon for each mega this Digimon Digivolution has when it's digivolving, and then you get to place 10 cards from your opponent's trash at the bottom of the deck in any order, and you can pick and choose those 10 cards as well. By being able to pick and choose the 10 cards, you can slow down the opponent's deck and momentum and increase your tempo a lot higher with this particular guy. And actually the best thing is at the end of your turn, you get to trash the top card of this guy, and then you get to trash the top of your opponent's security stack, so you can revert back to your Ulforceveedramon or your Ulforceveedramon X, which is always going to be nice, so that you can use your combos again and again the next turn if you ever need to do so. So really powerful Omnimon Merciful play that you can play here, and with its effect to delete any other thing is always going to be super nice for you to control and sort of establish more aggression on the board there too. That's it for our Digimon. Now let's talk about our Tamers, where we still have to play and must play the 4 copies of the BT11 Rena right here, because she is your core engine to all your combos with your Ulforceveedramon, which you want to be seeing as soon as possible whenever you get into him, and as often as possible. She has a ton of effects. On play until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your Digimon with Vmon or Veedramon in its name gain blocker and evade. Really crucial, helps you sort of have a protection that you can have when you're swinging safely into security, so that you don't have to be worried about deleted. Otherwise, you can go defensive so that you can have blocker and stop your opponent's attacks. She has an all turns effect. When one of your Digimon with Veedramon and its name becomes suspended, by suspending this Tamer, you get to activate one of that Digimon's when digivolving effects. We've seen before how we can combo this with Ulforceveedramon very nicely to make attacks over and over again, and use its when digivolving over and over again, and play even more Tamers, which is absolutely crazy. Now, with her third and final effect is that your turn once per turn, when one of your blue Digimon becomes unsuspended, you get to gain your memory back, so you can digivolve very effectively, and being able to gain that memory back can, virtually help you make the level 6 line play much more easier and smoother. And yeah, again, she gives you a lot of value for sure, and she is definitely a must-have at 4. Next, we are actually now playing one of the older BT2 Rena, where she has actually first and foremost an on-play effect, revealing 3 cards at the top of your deck, adding yourself a Digimon card with V in its name among them to your hand, and place the rest back to any order. And then she also has a regular your turn effect, which is actually her first effect. When one of your blue Digimon attacks, you get to suspend her, and then basically give that Digimon extra 1000 DP for the turn. This one came up very nicely because it has quite a decent amount of synergy as a tech when it comes to the BT11 era Veedramon. You can help you search a little bit more by activating that on-play effect when you don't necessarily want to be activating the on-play effect of the BT11 Rena. To give you an extra additional choice is always nice, and being able to play her a little bit early to find some pieces that you need is also not bad at all. So a one-off tech has been working quite nicely for sure. Next, we still definitely must play 3 copies and at least 3 copies of Davis. He is your memory tamer to enable your big combo plays, but also just searching for you in the early stages of the game. This is the tamer that you really only be playing earlier than any of your other tamers. Being able to help you find your pieces so that you can build towards your stack and go for that big combo is really what he is all about there. Then we still got 3 copies of the V-Tamer tie here, with a very nice flexible effect where you can suspend him to either draw 1 card or to give your Digimon extra 1000 DP for the turn, as long as you have a Digimon with Veedramon in its name. And with its efficient memory cost of 2, it's always very nice because you can just gain a lot of memory and even just hard play this for 2 and not necessarily for free with effects. So then you can unsuspend your Ulforceveedramon again and again for a much lower cost, which is very, very ideal. And right now I'm playing the 3 of them, which is because I taken 1 copy out from my before build to add in that extra slot for the BT2 Rena instead. Last but not least, I still play the 2 copies of Matt and Sora here just because you can gain a lot of memory in the later stages of the game as long as you have 8 cards in your hand at the start of your main phase, and if your opponent has 8 cards in their hand as well during the start of your main phase, you can gain 1 memory each, so being potentially able to gain 2 memory at the start of the turn is always going to be nice. Their secondary effect is still relatively important, which I feel, because when one of your blue or red Digimon becomes unsuspended, you get to bounce one of their opponent's level 3 Digimon back to their hand. Especially great at dealing with Floodgate rookies to get rid of them, because the ones that basically stop memory gain other than Tamer effects are usually the most annoying ones, which you want to get rid of with this particular effect. And again, more Tamers is always nicer. That's it for all the Tamers. Let's go into our options. And just to really round off, we just got the typical blue staples. 1 copy of Ice Wall, 1 copy of Blue Memory Boost to do a little bit more searching and gaining memory, and Ice Wall for defensive capabilities, which is very, very simple and standard for blue decks to have nowadays anyways. That's it for the 50 card main deck. Now let's talk about some other cards that you can consider adding in this deck just based on your own personal preference and choices. The first one is actually this blue Kumon from the promo Security Rookies, which has a security effect at the end of battle. You get to draw 2 cards and then add this card to your hand. Drawing cards is super nice and it does come in clutch every now and then, but you know, having the high roll and have it potentially be in your security, you know, is a sort of a gamble chance that you guys can go for. If you're all up for it, you know, definitely comes up very nicely. Being able to draw 2 cards, like I mentioned, is going to be super helpful for the deck because it can help you turbo into your combos, building your stack, and find your pieces for your Tamers to go for that big swing plays too. Otherwise, you guys may have realized I have taken out the Jerry package. Now I focus a bit more on Tamers and hybrids and a completely different level 4 lineup instead. And this is why you can still play Jerry and Leomon. If you're playing Leomon, definitely play Jerry. If you're playing Jerry, definitely play the Leomon because they can give you extra defensive, which is really nice. But right now, the goal and achievement I'm trying to go for is really try to build a stack and just make those multiple swings in that one crazy turn and just win there. And I don't want to go defensive at all. But yeah, there's still really good considerations that you could still be playing in a deck for sure. Then otherwise, if you want to go for more further aggression, if it wasn't for Beelzemon being so meta relevant, I would not be playing Omnimon Merciful Mode, and instead I actually would be playing this Blitz Omni because you can always just cheat out 1 extra swing to finish the games is really what you want to try and go for. However, on the other side, Omnimon Merciful Mode, which I talked about earlier, has a lot of impact in the current meta, which is the only reason why we play him. And yeah, but this is still a very good suggestion if you want to go all out. Last but not least, otherwise, for removal, for flex spots, you can also play Great Maelstrom, which is a really, really good new blue removal card for the deck. Even though for its 9 costs, when you would use this option card from your hand by placing one of your blue Digimon underneath one of your blue Digimon's Digivolution sources from your hand, you get to reduce the cost by 3. And then afterwards, you basically just bottom deck one of your opponent's Digimon. And basically, you can just pick anything with no level or DP requirements whatsoever and just bottom deck it and just get rid of it is ultra value. And with its security effect, basically just lets you use its main effect for free, although you don't get to put anything underneath. But however, by putting something underneath, this card effectively becomes 6 costs. And again, you're drawing a lot with blue decks usually, which has a lot of synergy with this particular deck too, so that you can really then just like add an extra inheritable underneath your Ulforceveedramon or whatever can be really, really helpful. And yeah, just a super nice card that you definitely should heavily consider as your main removal option for Ulforceveedramon deck right now at the moment. That's it for all the cards I wanted to talk about. Now let's show you guys the combos and how you want to strategize and play with this deck. Ideally, it's really very similar from the last format, but now with the addition of Ulforceveedramon X, your top end combo can look a little bit different to provide you some extra swings. So let's just show you the guys how you sort of get there anyway. So of course, it's really stack building focus. So you're trying to, you know, digivolve and build your stack as much as you can. In the early stages games, you definitely need to search for your pieces. So ideally, you can digivolve into the EX1 Vmon right here because it has no on-play value, but otherwise you get to on-play this Vmon to help you find pieces. Like I mentioned earlier, Davis is the only tamer that you ever consider hard playing without using any effects in the early stages of the game, just to help you find your pieces, which is super crucial. So playing this guy as soon as possible is not bad at all because it also helps you guarantee into your combos later on. Ideally, digivolve into your Veedramon, especially the BT11 one, because it's just going to give you memory as well. And then eventually you're going to see your Arrow Veedramons. And depending on what you have at the moment, you don't really get to have a choice to get in. You have to get into one or the other. Otherwise, the most ideal one is you want to get into this one. And then secondary, you can get into the Starter Deck 8 one. So then, you know, really making sure that you have 8 cards in your hand so that you have the most value when you do decide to go into that one instead. So that's really how you want to go about it. So once you have this stack ready to go, go, you're going to be starting at your turn with 3 memory ideally, because you won't normally have at least 1 Davis there, and then you can just push it up immediately and suspend this guy to search for tamers from the top of your deck, grabbing yourself as many arenas as possible. You're always going to be trying to grab this particular arena because you just can't, it helps you combo very importantly later on. You want to find any other tamers that you can, basically just continue finding them, and there you go. Now what you go do next is basically simply play the 4 memory, and then you digivolve into your Ulforceveedramon right here. Ulforceveedramon is going to activate its when digivolving effect, letting you play the arena for free. Now a lot of things will happen because you play the arena for free. You get to unsuspend, and also because you play the arena, you get to gain a memory with Veedramon right here, and you get to unsuspend right here, so you gain another memory with Vmon, and with Rena's effect, final effect at the third at the bottom also lets you gain a memory because you unsuspended. So now you're basically sitting at 2, and this is what you're always going to be wanting to repeat the cycle over and over again. You just swing with Ulforceveedramon, you get to draw one with Vanyamon, and you get to use Ulforceveedramon to give like another thing, evade blocker as well. Since you played this arena earlier, you're always going to be giving it to your stack with the evade blocker, but if you have another thing on board, give it to that one as well. It's going to be really helpful. Now at this moment, you're going to suspend arena, which lets you activate Ulforceveedramon's when digivolving effect once again. And when digivolving, you're going to play another arena, and this is the cycle. You're always going to prioritize playing as many arenas as possible as you can first, so then you can unsuspend here, and then you gain another memory with the arena, and you're swinging in just for simply just 1 check at the moment. And if you're ever in threat from security bombs, or if you can't, successfully swing over the security, you have evade and blocker at least, so you can at least evade and dodge the deletion. So that's kind of high rolly sometimes, but that's what this deck is really all about, because it can continue swinging over and over again. But let's just say if you didn't, this is when you can now swing in once again with Ulforceveedramon, suspend Rena, using Ulforceveedramon's effect, play another Tamer, which is going to ideally be arenas if you have, and then he's going to unsuspend, gain another memory with the arena right here, and then continue. And then now you get to attack again, suspend Rena, play another arena, unsuspend. At this moment, it's probably going to be like 4 or 5 attacks ongoing continuously, and then you swing here once again, suspend Rena to play a definitely new Tamer. Now go for the 4-cost ones, go for these guys. If not, go for this particular arena, and then sometimes you can combo it with the Ulforceveedramon, so then you can use its on-play effect to search more if you really want to and whatnot, which is always really nice. And then finally you get to unsuspend here once again. Depending on really what you have, having multiple Tamers is always going to be nice for you for sure. And because you're sitting at 4 memory, these are the times when you can actually be playing your V-Tamer ties for much lower cost, so that your Ulforce can make extra swings. So let's just finish another swing right here. Here's a few ways you can do it. You can play 2 memory, play tie, unsuspend right here, swing, and then you pay another 2 memory to play another tie, unsuspend, and swing. And that's so many checks already in total. You basically OTK your opponents out of nowhere. But of course, we're talking about and want to see what it looks like when you go for the Ulforce X combo. That's definitely 2 ways to go about it, but ideally the most simplest way to get into him is after you made so many checks, you just pay 1 memory since you're back at 4, and then you just digivolve into Ulforce X right here. At this moment, you can unsuspend either Rena or one of your Tamers, or unsuspend him. But let's just ideally just unsuspend this guy for simple sake, because then you can just make another swing right here, and it just combos nicely with a secondary effect. Because he becomes unsuspended, you can bounce one of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level back to their hand, and then now you can swing once more to finish the game just like that. If you don't have enough swings, these are the moments where you want to be going into your hybrids for game, making sure that you go on top of the Tamers that are not played this turn. So any Tamers that were played from prior turns, that's the ones you want to be digivolving into for 2 costs, and then you can come out and just swing for game right here. Of course, if you have any rookies to finish the game, do that as well. And this is really simply how you always want to be really playing this particular deck. If you ever choose to unsuspend your own Rena and not unsuspend Ulforceveedramon X, then it allows you to sort of do more other combos if you have a secondary stack, which is always nice. So really cool thing right here. Keep in mind, Ulforceveedramon X Antibody, if you want to go for defensive, and if you didn't swing, and at this particular moment, there's actually a really cool defensive play instead you can go with if you ever need to. At this moment, you have an unsuspended Ulforce X and a unsuspended Rena like that. You somehow do whatever you want to need to do, and you pass your opponent to their memory. And if they ever attack, you can actually block with this guy. And because he is suspended, you can use Rena's all turns effects when one of the Digimon with Veedramon and his name becomes suspended. By suspending her, you get to activate its when Digivolving once again. So we can activate its when Digivolving here to unsuspend himself, so he can effectively block 2 times. Not only that, his secondary effect is also all turns, so you can also bounce your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level back to their hand while doing so just like that, which is a very, very cool combo that you can do for defensive lineup, but otherwise the offensive one is really what you're trying to go for most of the time. Now we'll wrap up for the deck profile for today. If you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful, please give it a like. If you have any suggestions, recommendations, or questions, be sure to share it with everyone in the comments down below. We got lots more Digimon videos and content coming, so as always, definitely hit that subscribe button right now, turn on that notification bell to stay tuned. If you guys just can't wait and want to see early deck lists and first drafts made by me, then definitely join the Avault Club. And last but not least, make sure to mark your calendars for May 29th when the Darkness Force playmat pre-order comes live. As always, thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you next video, and this is Avault signing